So in the second chapter that we have started, only first part we have completed. In that first part, we have done the definition of business and its characteristics. Let's see the second part. Next part is objective of business. Okay, objective of business. So let's see what are the main objectives of a business organization. First objective is economic objectives. Okay, first objective of business, economic objectives. Second, social objectives. Okay, next, human objectives, and at last, national objectives. So these are the main four objectives for of business. Okay, therefore we can say that objectives of business can be classified into four parts: economic objectives, social objectives, human objectives, and national objectives. All these four objectives we need to do one by one. So our first one is economic objectives. So directly we will go to the next part, that is economic objectives. Three major economic objectives are there. See, earning profits, creating customers, and innovation. First one, see, earning profits. If you remember, the definition of the business contains a word that business is an economic activity, okay, which involves regular transfer or exchange of goods and service for a price with the object of earning profits. It is already told in the definition. That means earning profits is one of the major economic objectives of business. It is said that as human being cannot survive without blood, business organization also cannot survive without profit, because profit is required for the survival of the business as well as for its growth. An entrepreneur wants to start a business and wants to assume risk with the object of earning profit only. If profit objective is not there, then an entrepreneur will never start a business organization. If you go through the book, you'll get the same explanation. Profit is not only necessary for survival, it is also required for growth and expansion. Not only that, profit is also a barometer. Barometer means how will you measure whether the business organization is efficient one or not. So the efficiency, stability, or progress of a business organization is measured with the quantum of profit. Okay, so one of the major economic objectives of business is earning profits. Just like a human being cannot survive without food, without blood, a business organization also cannot survive long run without profit. So profit is essential for survival as well as growth. An entrepreneur is ready to start a business and want to assume risk with the expectation of earning profits. Profit also works as a barometer of a business. That means the efficiency and progress of a business organization is measured with the quantum of profit. That is first one, earning profits. Second one, creating customers. We call profits are not created by God or by force of nature. Profits cannot be created by God or by force of nature. Customers are the backbone of every business. A business organization produce the foods, okay, produce the goods or services with the object of selling them to the customers. So customers are the main backbone for a business. The success of a business largely depend on the customers. So another major economic objective of business is what? Creating customers. If the number of customers of a business increases day by day, then automatically the sales of the business also will increase. If sales increase, then profit will increase and the business will grow day by day. So no business organizations can survive without customers. Therefore, creation of customers and taking care of their utilities, okay, their satisfaction is a major criteria in economic objectives. Now, how a business organization will be able to create customers? Business organizations must provide good quality product at a reasonable price. Only when customers will get good quality products at a reasonable price, then customers will be satisfied. And only satisfied customers will come to you again and again. If a business organization is unable to satisfy the customer's demand or customer's want, then those customers will never come again. So, as one of the major economic objectives is creating customers, to create customers, a business organization must provide good quality products at a reasonable price. Thereby, a business organization will be able to create more and more customers. Next is what? Innovation. Innovation, to innovate something. Here, what is meaning? Always a business organization has to innovate its product by utilizing latest technology, latest machines, latest production technique. Okay, if you continue with the old concept only, especially when you are in a competitive market, you know, where more or a lot of sellers are there, and all the sellers have same type of product that you call homogeneous product. In homogeneous product, so a lot of sellers are there. Generally, customers will try to buy the product which has good quality and at the same time at a less price. So, with the help of latest technology, a businessman always try to innovate its product. So, innovation is a very mandatory part in today's competitive business world. If you are unable to innovate your product with the passage of time, then customers will never buy your product. Like a real life example you see, earlier you must have seen one mobile company was there, Nokia. Okay. Like in 2000, 2005, in that time at all, and all, 2007, 8, like that, Nokia had a market share of around 76% in the world. That means every 100 mobile phones sold in the world, okay, out of every 100 mobile phones sold in the world, 76 mobile phones were Nokia company's mobile. But you know, what is the market share today? Today's market share around less than 5%, around 4% market share. Means from 76 to 4. What a drastic decrease in the market share. You know why it happens? Because the company was unable to innovate its product. That company continued with the same phone, that Windows operating system. Okay, you have to push that button like that only. But you have seen nowadays no one is using that phone. Nowadays skin touch phone has come with Android version, latest technological model. So see, product same in the sense cell phone. But the company was unable to innovate the product, that company lost its market share. Now other companies who are doing according to the demand of the customers, who are doing according to the latest technological changes, they have captured the market share. So if you are unable to innovate your product, then no one will buy your product. So to sustain in the competitive business environment and to survive for a long run and to ensure your growth, you have to innovate your products with the passage of time. You see, one product was the typewriter. Once This typewriter was treated as a very important component in every office. But nowadays, you search for 1 lakh offices, you will never find a single typewriter. The place of typewriter has been taken by computer. The work that a typewriter used to do, that work has been done by one computer with fast or with more faster way, or more accurately, more efficiently. Okay, 100 typewriters work can be done by one computer only. So see, with the latest technology, with the changes in the technology, the entire system has changed. That is innovation. Okay, so these are the three major economic objectives: earning profits, getting customers, and innovation. Okay, with the help of research and development of your department, you have to innovate your product day by day. That's the economic objectives. Next, you have social objectives. Okay, what social objectives we have seen? First, supplying desired goods at a reasonable price. So some objectives, business organization is not only for earning profit, it also has some social obligation, social objectives. First one, you have to supply desired goods. Desirable goods means the goods which are desired by the society. That means you should not produce and sell some goods which are harmful for the society, which are illegal for the societies. You should not sell. You have to sell goods which are expected, which are desired by the society. At the same time, you should not charge extraordinary prices. The price also has to be reasonable price. Reasonable price does not mean that reasonable price does not mean that you are asking the businessman not to earn profit. Yes, businessman obviously will earn profit, but there will be some limit. It is not like price of cost of the product is 100 rupees and you are selling at 1,000 rupees. It's not like that. You earn profit, but that profit should be reasonable, fair profit. Okay, so supplying desired goods at a reasonable price. The goods which are expected by the society, which are desired by the society, those kinds of goods you have to produce and sell. And of course, the price that you will charge for the price, that price has to be reasonable price or fair price. Next, fair remuneration to employees. Employees who are working in the business organization, the success of the business organization largely depends on the efforts of the employees. So as employees are working hard for the organizations, business organization also has some social obligation for the employees. Employees are supposed to get what? Salaries. Okay, that is the remuneration. But apart from that, that's the fixed salary. Apart from that, the responsibility of the business is, suppose in a particular year, the company had earned huge amount of profit because of the efforts put by the employees. In that circumstances, business organization also share a part of the profit with the employees. It will keep the employees motivated. Employees will realize, see, if we work hard, the organization will earn more profit and the company will give a part of the profit to us. So more we put efforts, more will be our earning. That should be the obligation of the company to take care of the remuneration of the employees. Okay. Next, employment generation. In a developing country like India, unemployment problem has become major issue. Now, in these circumstances, it is not possible for the government to offer employment opportunities for all the citizens. As a business organization, all the organizations have some sort of responsibility, whether it's a private company, public company, whatever. You have some obligation for the society. What is the obligation? You have to create some employment opportunities. Whenever your business organization is growing in its volume, there must be some opportunities for the young generation for their employment. Government alone cannot offer all the employment opportunities for the public. Okay, so another social responsibility of business is to create employment opportunities. Next, here return to investors. Who are the investors? Investors are those persons like shareholders, bankers, debenture holders, okay, lenders, who are investing money in the business. See, a person who has a lot of money If the person keeps that money in the bank or post office, he will earn some interest out of it. But in spite of that, but instead of that, that person is ready to keep the money in a business. Everyone knows that business has a risk. So try to understand. When the person has got a lot of money, if the person keeps the money in the bank, he will get some sort of interest. That will be income. That is a risk-free income. There is no risk at all. But if the person invests the money in a business, there are some risks. But still, some persons will be interested to invest in the business. Why? With the expectation of getting more return. So, as investors are investing their money in the business, it is the responsibility of the business to give fair return. Fair return is what return? Return which is more than the return offered by the bank, because the investor has taken risk. So the business organization's responsibility will be to compensate the investors as the investor has assumed some sort of risk. So fair return to investors. Okay, investors who has invested their money in the business, they must get fair return. So this is the responsibility of the business. Business has to ensure that the investors are getting fair return, okay, out of the money they have invested. Next, social welfare. Social welfare means the business organization is also a social organization. Okay, so organization has to participate in social activities. Like when the when in the society there are some social work like construction of school, college, hospital, library. Okay, the business organization has to contribute something. Business organizations must arrange some cultural program, religious program, social program. Okay, so that it will be beneficial for the society. So whenever any work is going on for the society's betterment, the business organization must participate directly or indirectly. Not only that, in some cases, some NGOs like non-government organizations are there, okay, who are helping the poor persons or the people who are belonging from the weaker section of the society. Okay, some NGOs are there. So business organizations also can help the NGOs financially, so that these NGOs get financial strength to help the weaker section of the society. So these are the different verticals through which a business organizations can participate in social welfare. Next, payment of government dues. Government is giving lot of opportunities to the business organization, starting from construction of road, transport system, power plant, supplying water. So many advantages government is giving. As a result, government also wants something from the business. What is that? Tax. Okay. So government wants tax. That is the responsibility of the business to pay government dues. That is income tax, sales tax, excise duty, customs duty, whatever is there. That tax the business has to pay honestly and at right time. Not only that, for the safekeeping of the country, for the betterment of the country, for the betterment of the system of the country, government has laid down a lot of different policies, like Companies Act, Partnership Act, Factories Act, lot of different acts are there. So as a businessman, it is your obligation, social obligation, to abide by all the rules and regulations, all the acts that is laid down by the government. Okay. So business organization social responsibility towards the government will be payment of tax in time. Okay, right tax in time. Along with that, whatever rules, regulations, and policies have been implemented by the government, you have to be faithful and loyal towards the laws implemented by the government. These two are economic objectives and social objectives. Next, you have human objectives. Okay, human objectives. Under human objectives, another 4 parts you have. First, you have labor welfare. So business must recognize welfare of human being. That is, you have to give due recognition to the dignity of labor. So proper opportunities should be provided for utilizing individual talents and satisfying the workers. There must be in a factory, there must be adequate arrangement for their health, their safety, their social securities. Okay, That is the responsibility of the business towards the welfare of labor. Laborers are working in the factories. Sometimes there are a lot of accidental zones in your factory. Some places are there working in those places may be danger. So you have to keep some provisions in that place for their security, their safety, their health. Okay, these are the parts that a business organization has to take care of about the labor, and you have to ensure the welfare of labor. Next, developing of human resources. Human resources, the most important resources for the business. For the business, business has a lot of resources: physical resources like land, building, machinery; monetary resources, there is cash, bank, and all; and human resources. Human resources is the most important because this resource make use of the other resources. So, as a business organization, your responsibility will be developing the human resources. Developing means with the passage of time, you have to give them proper training so that their existing knowledge are updated with the passage of time. For example, you have seen SBI, State Bank of India. Earlier, bank employees used to complete their workings. They used to maintain the accounts in copy. Okay, I believe earlier time. Then later on, when the computer introduced, SBI started operating with all their accounting system in computer. What they did? They they just send their employees in a rotation. For example, 20 employees are there in a branch. So at a time, they send 5 employees to their training center so that those employees learn how to operate in computer. Because see, when those people got the job on that time, they did everything in copy pen. So they had that knowledge only. But with the passage of time, when everything started working in computer, everyone started working in computer. What they did, they transferred they send their employees for learning new techniques. That means the organization is helping their employees for their development. Because see, developed employees will give more productivity, more efficiency, and ultimately that will be help the business organization. So it is the responsibility of the business organization to take care of the development of human resources. Next, participative management. Okay, there are two types of participative management and autocratic management. Autocratic management, you know, that's the nature of Hitler, autocratic leader, Hitler. In autocratic management, management will only dictate the labor of the employees that you do this, you do that. Okay, but management should not be autocratic; it should be participative. That means management must discuss with the employees. Okay, management must discuss with the employee regarding the policies to be implemented, regarding the procedures to be followed. Everything will be discussed with the employees. Then only final decisions will be taken. What will be the advantage of this process? In this process, the employees will understand that see, we are also part of the decision making process. So management is not giving any burden to us. Rather, management is discussing with us. So that's a democratic system. In the democratic system, the management and the employees, workers, all are sitting together, they are discussing the things and then taking the decisions. Management should be like this, participating management. Here, no conflict will arise because the management is taking decision after consulting with employees and workers. That's a participating management. So management should be participating. That means worker as well as labor both should get the opportunity to discuss the matter with management. After discussing with the management, the final decisions will be taken. Then, then you have labor management cooperation. Another issue. There must be a cooperation among the management and the between the management and the labor. Nowadays, one major problem arises in the industrial sector is labor unrest or labor conflict that ultimately comes to strike. Okay, that's a major problem because strike is a problematic for the companies as well as employees, workers. Okay, it will reduce productivity, it will reduce income for both the company as well as employees. So that thing has to be avoided. Labor management cooperation means always there should be a good relationship between the management and the labor. There should not be any conflict, any disputes. Whenever labor is facing any problem, management should concentrate on that. Management should listen to them, what problem they are facing. Similarly, when management is asking to do something, labor also listen that. So there must be a good relationship between the management and the labor. There should not be any conflict. There should not be any dispute. Okay, that's a human objective. Then you have national objective. The last part of objective is national objective. Okay. In national objective, what you have seen? Optimum utilization of resources. What is optimum utilization? Optimum utilization of resources means you have to use the resources in such a manner that will be most beneficial for the country, for the society. Okay. So you should not misuse the natural resources, because natural resources are always scarce. So you should not misuse these resources. You should not waste these natural resources. You have to use these natural resources in the judicious manner, which is most beneficial for the society. So business should produce goods in accordance with national priorities and interests. It should minimize the wastage and of scarce resources. Okay, that is optimum utilization of resources. Whatever resources you are using, that you have to use in the most beneficial manner, in a judicious manner. So you should avoid wastage of scarce natural resources. Next, national self-reliance. Okay, so how a country will get self-reliance? To enjoy self-reliance, always you have to increase your exports and you have to decrease your imports. Imports, buying goods from other commodities, other countries. So if you are importing more and more commodities from outside countries, that means you are not self-reliant, you are dependent. Okay. If you are increasing more and more imports, then you are dependent on other countries. This situation has to be removed. You have to become self-reliant. How you will become self-reliant? You try to identify what are the different commodities that are required by the citizen of your country, and try to produce all those commodities required by the citizen of the country. In that case, if your companies, all the business organizations together are able to produce the commodities required by the country citizen, then no need to buy anything from outside countries. So your country will become self-reliant. So that's another objective of business, to become self-reliant, to make your country self-reliant. So with the application of latest technological machineries, latest technique, you have to produce different goods required by the country. So your input will reduce. Okay, reduction in input only can help you to become self-reliant. Next, development of small scale industries. Small scale industries means these are called ancillary industries also, means they produce a small part of the whole commodity. Okay, and they are small in size also. So big business organizations has to take one more responsibility. Always you have to help the small industries to grow. For example, suppose a four-wheeler company, Tata Motors is a big company. Tata Motors hardly prepare all the parts of a four-wheeler. Some important parts they prepare, but some other parts like tire, steering, light, that they purchase from other small companies. So you have to think about the development of small scale industries also. If small scale industries develop, if the quality of the commodities increase, okay, then ultimately the benefits will be enjoyed by the big companies. For example, suppose Tata Motors using a tire produced by MRF. For example, if the MRF companies, the quality of the product improves, the tire quality improves, then automatically that benefit will be enjoyed by Tata Motors also, because the same product is being used by Tata Motors for their four-wheeler. So big organizations should think about the development of small scale industries also. Next, development of backward areas. See, if every business house, all business organizations think to set up their factories in developed area only, then what will be the problem? See, every business organization wants to establish their business in a place where a good communication system will be there, transportation system will be there, education facilities will be there, health facilities will be there. Because see, when the business organization will start operating, employees will come over there. The company has to give residential facilities for the employees, education facilities for their children, health facilities for the entire families, transportation system, everything you have to give. So that's why business organizations are interested to establish their new factory in a developed area. But the thing is that if all the business organizations wants to establish factory in developed area only, then only a particular part of the country will develop, but the remaining part of the country will remain underdeveloped. So that should not be the motto of a business organization. The motto of the business organization should be to establish their factory or new business in a underdeveloped area or the area where or in the backward areas. If you start a business organization in a backward areas, gradually that backward area will start improving. Once your workers and employees started working over there, okay, you will some sort of residential facilities like construction of house will start. Then there may be establishment of some schools for the education of their children. Then hospitals may come for their health facilities. So gradually that backward area will start improving. Okay. So for development of backward areas, business organization must open their new factories or new branch in a backward area so that that area also gradually improves. And for last one, control over pollution. The business organization means always there is a chance of pollution. Maybe some chemical wastes are coming from factories or smoke or something like that, which are harmful for the society. Now, to protect that, you cannot close your production. To protect the pollution, you cannot close your production. If you continue your production, quite natural, maybe some harmful chemicals are coming out of the factories, or some smokes are coming which are harmful for the society. So, as a businessman, what will be your responsibility? You take some steps, okay, so that the pollution could be minimized. So that pollution can be minimized. You must have some control over the pollution. For example, maybe some filter system are used in the factories. So the harmful smokes or chemicals are coming from your factories as a waste product. Then that waste product is taken by some other machineries. Then the machinery is processing it. After processing, the machinery is absorbing the harmful chemicals, and only non-harmful chemicals are released for the society. That is one of the steps. So like that, business organization must take some steps so that you must have some control over the pollution. Okay, pollution has to be minimized. So these were the four major characteristics. Sorry, objectives.